strange to make this step in this way. One question that we get a lot, and again today I've had that question, is why don't we send experienced astronauts? Well, probably you guys are all really happy with that, because how many experienced astronauts are here? Not so many. So, but of course we don't do it to please you. We do it for a very different reason. What are astronauts? Let's compare the profession of astronaut. Let's look at a different situation. We're looking for astronauts. Now let's assume we're looking for a professor. And we're looking for a professor in the field of, I've written this down, quantum structure of electroweak interactions. We need a professor that knows about that. Are we going to get a history professor? No. We need Gerard het Hoofd, because he got the Nobel Prize for that. So, like professors, astronauts are not, there's no school for astronauts. Astronauts are not selected because they're astronauts, they're selected to become pilots, and then they start searching for pilots. Or they need to be the mission commander, so you take someone with a lot of experience in leadership, or it's a payload specialist, so you get one of the guys that was involved in building the payload, or you need a science specialist, and you get a scientist and you train him to be an astronaut, because you can't train an astronaut to be a scientist. And astronauts, why don't you take experienced astronauts? Are space tourists who have their astronauts wings, should they go to Mars because they're astronauts? No, we need people who have the right skills for our task, which is not, we're not looking for the commander or the pilot or the science specialist. We're looking for people who can go to Mars with a group of 4, be in transit for 7 months, not kill each other on the way there, land on Mars, fully automated, because we just did that 8 times with cargo missions, so we don't need a pilot. They're going to be on Mars 26 months before the second crew comes, so what we need are people who can do this. And there's never been an astronaut requirement that had astronaut application that had these requirements in ESA or NASA or in the other space agencies. So all the astronauts that are trained so far are probably not the right stuff. Those are not the people we need. We need people that can especially do that really challenging group aspect of the mission. And then, of course, we need very good people. We're looking for the best, but the best will be mostly these aspects. And then you do need a good brain. You need to be able to learn skills quickly, and you do need to be healthy, because we can't have people with a high risk of medical situations on Mars. But we don't need, I've made this joke with our ambassador Gerard het Hoofd, the Nobel Prize winner, who is a theoretical physicist. We don't need a theoretical physicist on Mars. I mean, he can work on his quantum weak interactions here on Earth. We don't need him to do that on Mars. What we need on Mars is people who can fix anything and anyone that breaks. And you need to grow your own food. So the 3 main skills that you will learn are growing your own food, repairing anything that breaks and maintaining it, and installing it, and taking care of each other. And that's the things but those are not the most complex things in the world. You can teach anyone to take care of a broken bone, of how to do dental care. Those are not things that we will be looking for. We will be looking for your ability to function in a group. So I hope I answered that question once and for all now. So, selecting these people, you have to realize that a mission of permanent settlement is completely different from anything that we've ever done before. So we're going to need completely different astronauts. So this idea of permanent settlement, let me see. The idea of permanent settlement has always been for me the way to do it. When I came up with the idea of Mars One, I'm sure you heard all that in the presentation before. It was about 16 years ago when I saw the images of the first Mars rover, the Sojourner rover. when I saw them, I wanted to go to Mars. And I'm not an American citizen, so I've virtually no chance of being a NASA astronaut and certainly not going to Mars. ESA doesn't really have a plan to send humans to Mars. So I thought, if it's going to happen, I'm going to have to do it myself. So I just started investigating it and reading into it and seeing, is it possible, how much would it cost. I was still a student then, I was studying mechanical engineering, so I also had to study at some point, so I left those notes aside for years and then picked it up again. But always was it my idea, I'm going to Mars to stay because the technology to get humans from Mars back to Earth simply doesn't exist yet. And for me, that was really no issue at all. To go to a different planet to stay, it's just the next place where you live. And I'm someone who easily leaves things behind and moves on. And I did that. I had a different company before Mars One, and for me when I found the last piece of the puzzle to start Mars One, for me it was, although this is my baby, so to say, it's the company that I built together with the team, but I was one of the two co-founders. To leave this company behind was really easy for me because I had something cooler to do. I had something this was my dream for so long, and if it's truly your dream, then it's not at all difficult to give up other things to pursue that dream. So for me, that the permanent settlement aspect or the one-way mission aspect of it has never been an issue. And I submitted, obviously, would you apply if it was a one-year mission question. I'm not sure if I would take that. If I did not, they kind of dodged the question by saying no, but we would make sure we'd stay alive. But it's not that simple. If you don't bring the technology to stay alive, Mars is no place to raise your kids. And if you don't have the technology to stay alive and you go there with the technology to stay alive for a year, it's very improbable that you're going to stay alive, because otherwise we would have made those really tiny tweaks and made it a permanent settlement mission. I think I wouldn't do that, but I know that there are people who would do it and people say, but you have to be crazy to do the permanent settlement mission. I don't even think that the people who would do it for a year, I don't think they would be crazy. If this is your goal in life and this is what you want to do, why not? It's your choice. You have to do in life what you want to do. And I think Sarah's father said it very accurately when he said, most people are living plan B. I think that's a really good remark. A lot of people don't do what they want to do. And I think you should give anything in life to do what you want to do, because that's the only way you're going to be truly happy. And I think that's really important. So I'll tell a little bit in a little bit more detail about the history of Mars One, because when I tell it in other presentations, I have to do it really quickly. So I can also tell about the technology, but you guys have all read the website, so you know quite a lot of things already, and you've seen the presentations where I introduced the plan. So what I always find fascinating, it was actually the same with my previous company, is the amount of chances, the amount of ways that it could have happened in a very different way, and I would not have been standing here, and I would not have started Mars One. So I'm going to focus a little bit on those little aspects that are sometimes called luck and sometimes called perseverance. And so this idea, I said it already, it's really old, and I worked on it a lot of times. But what's kind of lucky is how I met Arno, because I could never have founded Mars One without Arno as one of my co-founders, because he knows about space and I don't. I mean, he still works 4 days a week in the European Space Agency. I'm a mechanical engineer, so I know a few things about engineering, but I don't know a lot about space engineering. So it's really Arno's input that have made that part possible. But I met Arno because I was doing my master thesis in a company that researched artificial gravity. So I was developing a tether deployer for an artificial gravity system. And do you guys know the comfort zone in artificial gravity? It's when you rotate a spaceship to create artificial gravity, there's a certain amount of RPM and a certain radius of rotation, etc. There's some limitations to what's comfortable. And I wrote a paper about what the comfort zone was and why it was not really that comfortable. Because in the original comfort zone, if you would be on your way to Mars in a rotating spaceship, and you would it's rotating at a certain speed, and so if you move in one direction, you would get heavier, and if you move in the other one, you get lighter. But it's always the case. But what kind of variations do you accept? That's what I wanted to investigate. And turns out that